All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now, brothers and sisters, is there any sisters? Are they on the other side? They're listening? Okay, brothers and sisters, thank you very much for having me here today. It's an absolute pleasure, actually. It's Swinburne University. I attend this university, so I've been coming here for the past 5 years, just part-time, finishing my double masters. So that sounds too hard. It's not. It's really easy. So if you're wanting to do your masters, feel free to enter, and you know, there's a whole lifelong learning to discover from the journey. So I guess I'll keep it short. I'll go for about 10-15 minutes because we've got some amazing speakers, and I'd love to hear a lot about them as well. So my topic here today, I've been asked to talk about memory. Now, who here knows much about memory? A little bit, yeah, a few people know about memory, that's good. How I know about memory is I've entered the Australian Memory Championships. So I entered a memory competition, just for the fun of it. I thought I'll see how I go. I haven't got the best memory. I know a few techniques here and there. So I entered with my friend. I came second in Australia, he came third, and we broke all these memory records. And I said to my friend, wow, this is amazing. Just a few memory techniques I've learned, and I've broken all these memory records. Let's do this again. So we entered the competition again, didn't win it. I came second again, he came third, and we broke all these other records. And we went to Malaysia for the World Memory Championships. This was in 2003, the following year. And when I entered this competition, I thought, there's 70 competitors all around the world, and they're the best memorizers in the world. And we had to remember names and faces, thousands of digits of numbers, random shuffle decks of playing cards, really abstract stuff, and not just in the 10s, 50s, 20s, in the thousands. We memorized in a certain amount of time. It could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour. So went to this competition in Malaysia, not expecting anything. I came out of it breaking 6 memory records out of 10 events. And again, I left scratching my head thinking, why is such a person like me, that's got a pretty average memory, can do these amazing things, like remember a 100-digit number in 5 minutes without any mistakes, or 52 shuffle decks of random playing cards in 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. I thought, this is crazy. So, and I realised that if I can do it for myself, I could start teaching others. So 10 years ago, I started helping people to learn how to improve their memory. So what is really memory? So at the moment, I've just been using it as a memory competitor, but then I started to realise, wow, if someone had this skill of being able to remember, being able to use their brain more effectively, what could they do? So I started working with students. And these students were able to learn and remember a lot more, not just for their studies, but for everyday life. So I started working with dyslexic kids, kids that couldn't spell D and B backwards and all that sort of stuff. I gave them 10 words. This, that, the, egg. They got them all wrong. And they were going to a specialist for 1 year, driving from Broadmeadows to Brighton, their parents driving them every single week, spending $75 for, I think it was paying for the session plus the petrol money and all that. I think this is quite an expensive exercise for 1 year, and they couldn't even spell those 10 words. So I went in there for just half an hour. I showed them a few techniques and tricks, gave them some new words, and they got every single thing 100% correct using the memory techniques. And I thought, these people are wasting their time for 1 year. All that money when I've gone in there for half an hour and showed them a technique. So what the memory actually taught me is there's smarter ways to learn, much smarter ways to learn. So my discovery of memory evolved more and more and more. I started realizing, wow, how can I help people to be a lot more smarter, to study smarter? So unfortunately I got into memory after I finished university. So I had my undergrad degree, it was no use to me, right? So what crazy thing do? I start my masters again, double masters. And I applied the techniques to learning. And then what I realized is that instead of, say, reading for 7 hours in a week. I can only read for 1 hour and get more than what everyone else can get. Or I can be in class, remember exactly what the lecturer said, you know, and understand it, have it all on one sheet of paper and remember it. So these are the kind of skills that memory is able to help you with. And that's what I've been doing for the past 10 years. So from competing, not knowing much about memory, to memorizing a few things, to then realizing the greater elements of remembering. So there's obviously a higher level to this as well. So if you're able to learn faster, acquire knowledge quicker, what else can you do? You can develop yourself a bit further, can't you? You've got all that knowledge, now it's about actioning that knowledge, isn't it? So you can have all the knowledge in the world, if you don't know how to action this knowledge, useless. I could have the best knowledge of memory, but if I don't pass it on to you, or if I don't do something that's going to benefit society or individuals, I'm nothing. So, which is why I do this for a living now. Full time, I train people. I do one-on-one coaching. I also run a lot of seminars and workshops and you know, talks here and there as well. So it's good fun. Whoever wants to get into it, let me know. So the important element is, okay, we've got the personal development aspect. So what happens when you develop yourself personally? Can anyone tell me? You start to understand a bit more about the meaning, yeah, of life, or what you're trying to contribute. So for example, memory led me to opening up other ventures, like establishing a job network for Muslims. And I thought, what's memory got to do with that? Well, it's got to do with need. So once you're developing memory, then you start looking at the needs of people. And it all comes back to the remembrance of Allah, which is why we're here in the first instance. You know, what are we really trying to do? Are we just trying to do our learning and that's it, just pass? Is that why we come to uni? There's a lot of students, I mean, I was definitely like that as well. Just have to get my degree, pass. But what's the actual degree for? Degree is nothing. The learning that you take during that time, that is the gold part. The degree is just, you know, the acceptance of all the learnings that you've had. And unfortunately, we see this a lot. We go through so much learning, and at the end, when we get our degree or we finish, we say, that's it. All the knowledge is gone. You're going to the workplace or you're going to your field. What's happened? You know, that knowledge has disappeared. So I guess what we want to try and do is we want to be able to learn these techniques and strategies to keep this knowledge in our head. Right? And the best way to do that is through strategies that memory have. So things like visualization, association, a lot of memory techniques as well, which we can discuss a lot more in the question and answer sessions, which I'm happy to talk to everyone about. So I guess the key message is to understand what memory really is, and what we're trying to do with it. Because at the end of the day, we haven't got much time. So it's what we can do with our limited time. And if we keep doing things over and over and over again, trying to learn, think we're learning, but what we're doing is we're working really hard, if that makes sense. We're not working really hard to become a bit smarter. And that's what we need to do. We need to be able to work a lot smarter. And that begins by developing yourself personally. Right? So once we develop ourselves personally, then we get into areas of helping others. Then we get into leadership, right? Because we're suddenly in the future. So leaders are people who work in the future. They know, they have a vision of what they want to try and achieve, right? And if you have that vision, that's going to come about by having amazing memory strategies. And when I say memory strategies, these are things that I mentioned: visualization, association, and how you link those connections to the dreams and goals of what you want to get. Right, first level, and I call this the memory circle. First level is just remembering. It could be names and faces, could be telephone numbers, right? But it's the act of trying to remember, right? Making those connections and remembering those numbers, remembering those names, actually helps your brain to become a lot more fit, a lot stronger. And when it's a lot more stronger, then you can do a lot more things. right? So for example, you're meeting someone, your brother named Ahmed, right? You meet Ahmed, how you going, brother? Is it just for the name? No, you want to try and build a relationship. You want to build a rapport. Yeah, that's unfortunate with us Muslims. We say, hey, brother, how you going, brother? MashaAllah, brother, good, nice beard, brother. We don't want to say brother, brother. We want to be able to build connection and rapport, isn't it? That's the ultimate aim. And we sell ourselves short. We try and get away with it saying brother or sister. Let's try and use our names, because these are the life skills that we need in real life. You're not going to be out in the workforce saying, oh, brother, brother, brother. You know, let's try and build a connection. So remembering the first instance. Second is the building the rapport, right? So this is a higher level benefit from remembering now. Another one, customer service. So anyone in a customer service role here or face to face? Right? If you work in customer service, you don't just try and serve that person and they go. Right? You try and build an experience. So how do you build that experience? You smile. Prophet says, smile. Beautiful thing. What does a smile do? It builds instant connection. Right? Instant connection is a form of memory, association. Now, 3 years ago, I memorized the Yellow Pages phone book. Right? 2 Yellow Pages phone books in 24 days. So if someone gives me a number, Bob's Plumbing, I'll give you 9357 or whatever. Right? So I did that in 24 days. Now how I did it was connection and association. Right? So this is the thing. I also do Quran memorization programs using these strategies. Okay? And you know, instead of repeating 20, 30, 40, 50 times, you might repeat 3 times and get it. See how there's strategies around memory now. So now the whole aim is not just to remember, but now it's to understand. So it motivates you to go on to that second level, right? Create the experience. Memorize Quran. Who here has memorized the whole Quran? It's difficult, isn't it? It's overwhelming. It's huge. And we can't even get to the first base of memorizing, right? Let's say we've memorized it. Now it's all about understanding and action, isn't it? So if we can at least motivate ourselves to memorize Quran, maybe we can get onto that second stage, yeah, of really realizing what we're memorizing Quran for. Yeah, the message. So, first little circle was just the remembering bits and pieces. Second is look at the higher level stages. What benefit is it of remembering? Is it for improving our creativity? Is it for improving our knowledge? Is it for improving that relationship building, the rapport, right? So have a think about how memory plays in your life. How could you make your life memorable by using some of these strategies for connecting and visualizing? So inshallah, have we got enough time to finish up, wrap up? Yeah. So inshallah we'll wrap up, but what I want to say is regarding the techniques, in the question and answer time, try and think of some questions that you might have for not just remembering bits and pieces, but that higher level benefit stuff as well. So try and think of that, and we'll see how we can help you all out, inshallah. Okay? Thank you very much. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.